Hey friends, it's Mary Giordano, and welcome to Unapologetically Wild. Every single day, you have a choice. You can stay where you are, or you can step into the possibility of something even greater. And I'm here to spark that flame within you and inspire you to show up, embrace the fear, and do the fucking thing. Messy, scared, and real. Let's get started. Hey friends, it's Mary Giordano, and welcome back to Unapologetically Wild. I want you to take a moment and be honest with me. When was the last time you did something completely alone? Not errands, not scrolling on your couch. I mean, really alone. Like sitting at a restaurant or going to a movie by yourself. What about taking a trip or even spending a full day doing something solo? Not because you had to, but because you chose to. Now, here's the real question. How did it feel? Did it feel freeing? Or did it feel uncomfortable as hell? Or maybe you're sitting here thinking, hell no, I wouldn't do any of those things alone at all. We talk about self-care and me time, but most women still get squirmy when it's actually just them. You might start wondering what people think. You might feel exposed, like you have to explain why you're by yourself, like your friend couldn't make it or you're waiting on someone. But spending time alone isn't something to be embarrassed by. It's something to be proud of. It's where you remember who you are when nobody else's opinions, energy, or noise are in the mix. And just to be clear, this isn't about being single, it's about being self-connected. Whether you're married, dating, divorced, or somewhere in between, learning to spend time alone is about learning to like your own company, to stop filling every quiet moment with distraction, to realize that being alone doesn't mean lonely, it means free. So today, we're talking about why being alone feels so uncomfortable for so many women, what that discomfort is actually trying to teach you, and how to start enjoying your own company, whether that's out in nature, at a table for one, or just sitting in your own damn living room. So let's get into it. Being alone isn't hard because it's boring. It's hard because it's quiet, and most of us don't know how to handle quiet anymore. We live in a world that rewards constant noise, messages, notifications, group chats, podcasts, TV in the background, someone always needing something. Our nervous systems are on 24/7 alert. So when you finally get a moment to yourself, it's like your brain doesn't know what to do with it. And in that silence, all the stuff you've been avoiding has a chance to surface. The doubts, the grief, the am I really happy questions. And that's why most people reach for their phones before they even realize it. Anything to fill the space. But that discomfort, it's not a problem to fix, it's information. It's showing you that you've been so tuned in to everyone else's needs, opinions, and expectations that you forgot what your own voice sounds like. And when you finally slow down, that voice starts to come back. And then there's the social part. The discomfort that comes with being seen alone. We've been raised to believe that alone means lonely, or worse, unwanted. That if you're sitting at a restaurant by yourself, something must be wrong. It's almost like you can feel the eyes even if no one's actually looking. So you grab your phone, pretend to scroll, look busy, anything to prove you're not that person. But that feeling says more about what we've been taught than what's real. Because most people, they're not judging you. They're too busy judging themselves. They're worried about how they look, what they sound like, whether they belong. Everyone is always in their own little bubble of self-consciousness. And when they do notice you, it's often not with judgment, it's curiosity. Because being alone in public challenges one of the oldest social stories women have been fed. That your worth is tied to your relationships, your role, or your belonging. So when you show up alone, it breaks the pattern. It makes people think. And yes, it takes a quiet kind of confidence to walk into a restaurant, hike a trail, or go to a movie by yourself, especially in a world that still teaches women to be chosen rather than content. But that's not something to hide, that's something to own. You're not the sad one at the table. You're the one who showed up for herself, the one reminding everyone watching, whether they realize it or not, that it's possible to enjoy your own company. And when you start doing that, you stop needing validation to take up space. You become grounded, magnetic, self-led, and that energy changes everything. Once you stop fighting the discomfort of doing things alone and start showing up for yourself, even in small ways, something shifts. The quiet that used to feel heavy starts to feel grounding. You realize you don't need constant noise or company to feel secure, and spending time alone builds a kind of confidence that doesn't come from looking brave, it comes from feeling steady. You start to move differently. You're less reactive, you're less likely to chase attention or fill space just to feel seen, and solitude gives you space to think your own thoughts again. When no one's interrupting or influencing you, your preferences start to surface. What you actually like, what you want more of, what you're done pretending to care about. You begin to notice the difference between what makes you happy and what just keeps you busy. And here's the part most people don't say out loud. Those realizations, they can be terrifying. That silence you used to avoid, it's where the truth starts to speak. And sometimes that truth asks hard questions. Am I fulfilled? Am I living the way I want to? Who have I been showing up for? Them or me? And that's why so many women stay in the noise, because when it's quiet, the truth gets louder. But that's also where the healing starts, in the space you've been running from. Solitude also gives you clarity. When you're constantly surrounded by noise, every thought feels loud and competing. But when you're alone, things start to separate. The chaos settles and decisions start to become a little easier. And maybe the most underrated benefit of doing things alone is peace. Not the kind that comes from everything being perfect, because perfection doesn't exist, remember, but the kind that comes from realizing you can create calm for yourself anytime, anywhere. That kind of peace changes how you show up in relationships, at work, even with your own goals. You stop needing everything around you to be okay before you feel okay. Spending time alone teaches you how to be your own anchor. And once you have that, you stop searching for someone else to steady you. But now you might be thinking, okay, let's say I get a coffee alone and I can't look at my phone to stay busy. What the hell do I actually do with myself? So yeah, you finally take yourself out, lunch, coffee, maybe a solo day trip, and you sit down and instantly reach for your phone. You scroll, refresh your inbox, check your calendar, maybe even pretend to take a photo just to look occupied. Because the second there's empty space, your brain screams, fill it! And that's not weakness, that's conditioning. Most of us have trained ourselves to believe that every second needs to be productive, entertaining, or connected to someone else. We're an overstimulated society and we're underconnected to ourselves. So when the noise stops, it feels like withdrawal, like your mind doesn't know what to do without constant input. You feel restless, anxious, like you should be doing something more. But that space, the one you're trying to escape, is the exact space that's been missing. Being alone isn't just about where you are, it's about how willing you are to be with yourself without a buffer, to eat your meal and actually taste it, to sit and watch the world move without needing to be a part of it, to notice how you feel when there's no one else to perform for. And yeah, at first, it's uncomfortable, but the more you resist the urge to fill the space, the more peace you start to find in it. It's not boredom, it's recalibration. It's your nervous system remembering what stillness truly feels like. So, how do you start building that comfort? Here are a few things that might help. Number one, create one small ritual that's yours. Something simple you do just for you, not because you should, but because it feels grounding. Morning coffee in silence, a walk with no headphones, sitting outside under a blanket at night. The goal isn't productivity, it's presence. Number two, start small and stay curious. If sitting through a whole lunch by yourself feels too big, just start smaller. Take a short walk or grab a coffee solo. When you notice the urge to distract yourself, pause and ask, what am I feeling right now? And let curiosity replace judgment. Number three, let it feel awkward. That's part of it all. You're unlearning constant stimulation, and that takes practice. Every time you stay in the moment a little longer, you rewire your brain to know that silence isn't dangerous. It's safe. And number 4, romanticize it. Bring a book, order dessert, sit in your favorite spot and just be. Make it something to look forward to, not something to get through. Because when you treat your alone time like it matters, it starts to actually feel like it does. And at first, yeah, it'll feel uncomfortable, even forced. But somewhere in the repetition, you'll notice the shift. You'll stop seeing being alone as empty and start seeing it as freedom. Not because you changed what you're doing, but because you changed how you're being. The funny thing about learning to be alone is that it doesn't make you more isolated. It makes you more real. When you're comfortable in your own company, your relationships stop being about filling space. You stop saying yes out of obligation. You stop chasing people who don't meet you halfway. And you stop settling for surface level connection just to avoid silence. Because once you've experienced genuine peace alone, the chaos doesn't feel like love anymore. You start to recognize what calm feels like, and you protect it. You also become a better friend, a better partner, a better overall human. Because when you're not running from your own emotions, you can actually sit with someone else's. You can listen without fixing, hold space without losing yourself in their storm. You stop performing and start being present. That's the paradox of solitude. It's not about escaping people. It's about returning to them from a more grounded place. When you know yourself, you connect from truth, not from need. And that's when relationships start to feel lighter, freer, and more aligned. So here's the takeaway. Learning to be alone isn't about isolation. It's about belonging to yourself first. When you stop running from your own company, you stop abandoning the one person who's been there through it all, which is you. And the more you practice being with yourself, the more you realize how much peace is waiting in the quiet. You don't need to earn rest. You don't need permission to sit alone at a table or take a walk without a plan. You're allowed to take up space, even when it's just you. And yeah, again, it's going to feel awkward at first. You'll reach for your phone, you'll fidget, you'll want to fill the silence, but somewhere in that discomfort, you'll meet the version of you who's been underneath all the noise, steady, grounded, and enough. So this week, I want to challenge you to do one thing alone, completely on purpose. Take yourself to lunch, go watch a movie, grab a coffee solo. You don't need to wait for others to do things you enjoy. But when you do those things, don't fill the silence. Don't reach for your phone. Just notice what comes up, because that's where it starts, not in the big dramatic moments, but in the quiet ones you choose for yourself, the ones that remind you that your own company is enough. If this episode hit home, if you've been craving new experiences, but maybe holding back because you don't want to go alone, this is your sign. One of the things I love most about my women's group trips is that you might show up not knowing anyone, but you still said yes to something that stretched you. You're still stepping into the unknown, trusting yourself, and letting new connections find you. It's not being alone, but it's definitely learning to be comfortable with yourself in a whole new way. Next year, I have 4 trips. Alaska, which is already sold out, but there's a waiting list. Machu Picchu, that has 13 spots left. Thailand with 4 spots left, and a mystery trip I haven't even launched yet. So if you've been waiting to finally do something for you, this is it. You'll meet other women who are doing the same thing, saying yes to themselves. The links to all my upcoming trips are in the show notes. So whether it's taking yourself to lunch or coffee, a movie, or flying across the world with women who inspire you, it all starts with one choice: showing up for you. Thanks for tuning in today. If this episode hit home, subscribe and share it with a friend, because together we can bring more women into this wild, unapologetic space. Remember, waiting until you feel ready is the fastest way to nowhere. So show up, embrace the fear, and do the fucking thing. Until next time, stay wild.